Hey everybody, this is Atlanta News First anchor Alan Devlin. Wanted to talk to you guys really quick a little bit about today's top stories so far. It's about 2:23 right now, so we're going to roll through a quick snapshot of what the day has looked like so far this Wednesday. We've got brand new stories that have happened today. We've got new details from stories that happened earlier this week or over the weekend. This will be an opportunity for you to tune in really quick and take a look at some of the stuff that we've got happening. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is today, our newly elected Governor Brian Kemp, or re-elected Governor Brian Kemp, delivered the State of the Union at the state capitol today. That happened around 11 a.m. this morning, and he said about what you would expect a newly elected governor to talk about, the same things he was running on throughout his campaign, which was pretty much primarily reducing violent crime here in Georgia, here in Atlanta. That's been a key token for him throughout his entire first 4 years, and now going on to another term here as governor. He wants to reduce violent crime. He wants to increase punishment for people who commit violent crimes, whether that be gun crimes, robberies, you name it, it's on his list. Public safety has been number one for him, and it's a big concern for Georgians in general. I know if you're listening to my voice right now, you've been keen into how much violence we've had the past year, the past 2 years coming out of that pandemic. Back in 2020, violent crime rates rose. They began to dip a little bit, specifically here in the metro, but Governor Kemp wants to continue to ensure that this is something that he keeps on his radar. That was delivered this morning at about 11 o'clock. And speaking of violent crimes here, another key thing I want to talk to you guys about. Actually, we're going to skip over that really quick. I want to go into something going down right now in Spalding County. You are familiar, of course, of the tornadoes that happened in Griffin. Man, it's devastating to hear about how much damage was left behind, how many families, people were impacted, affected by these storms. If you've seen some of the videos, some of the pictures, you know how quickly these things can get in, wreak havoc, and get out. So specifically, FEMA has now responded. They will be offering assistance down there in Spalding County, down there in Griffin, Georgia, which was pretty much the hardest hit area in Georgia. And I know if you're listening to my voice, you're not in Spalding County, you're not in Griffin, you're still dealing with the aftermath of these tornadoes, excuse me, because there were multiple that touched down in Georgia. I know you're not alone, and I know that, there might be some frustration that we continue to cover Griffin. It's just that Griffin was hit so hard, and there were so many people impacted. There are people still in the dark trying to figure out where they're going to live. It is a widespread, it's a statewide issue right now, but specifically for FEMA, they recognize Griffin as one of the areas that needed a whole lot of help, and that is why they are responding right now down in Griffin. Turning again to one of our top stories that happened yesterday. This is something I know you are aware of. When this plane right here, a single engine plane, went down on I-985 up near Sewanee, it was a mess. You've got a 2-lane highway, so it's not like it's big for traffic to get around. They had traffic blocked for hours out there. Miles and miles and miles of traffic lined up after this plane makes a hard landing directly on the interstate around 4 o'clock yesterday, I want to say, is when this first happened. And we've got new details necessarily. You can see on the right wing there, it looks like some damage was taken. We're told that the plane, before it made that landing, it knocked into a trailer. That's something that we got today before it made that hard landing, and we spoke to the family of the people that were on board that plane yesterday. 2 pilots confirmed by the FAA, both of them thankfully okay. So that hard landing necessarily was successful. Minor injuries sustained for those people on board, no injuries sustained for the people on the highway. A lot of people don't understand that these highways, these interstates, were designed in part to act as emergency landing sites for these planes. Long stretches of interstate allows them to make these hard landings safely versus landing in a field or landing in trees. This is one of those instances where this happened successfully. I want to take you over to another story we've got right now happening in this is over in Dekalb County right now, where the Dekalb County Animal Shelter is experiencing a crisis. They desperately need people to adopt animals. They've got way too many inside their shelter. They're begging anybody who can hear my voice or who can hear their cries to step up, take a look at some of these furry friends. I mean, look at these guys. They're all cute. They're over capacity, as you can see, and they desperately need people to adopt some of their animals. We talked to you about this a lot, guys, how, coming out of the pandemic, a lot of these animals were unfortunately returned to the shelters because people would adopt them and then say, you know what, life's returning back to normal. I'm not at home as much. I don't need these animals, these dogs, these cats. Look at these guys. They're so cute. These are the people they're trying to help, the dogs, excuse me, they're trying to help find some forever homes. If that is something you can assist in, they're calling your name right now. There's an opportunity for you to make that happen. Turning now to a sad story we've been covering for the last several days here. This is one that it's just unfortunate to talk about. You go from celebrating back-to-back national championships to planning funerals. These two people right here, Devlin, the UGA football player, and then you've also got Chandler LaCroix, the UGA recruiter, both deceased in a terrible car crash that happened very recently. There were multiple people in the car, including other athletes. These are the two that unfortunately lost their lives. It is a sad, sad story. But what we're talking about today, the athletic director and UGA Athletics is now investigating the case. They're looking into what happened, but they did say yesterday that these four were not involved in any UGA athletic activities when this terrible, terrible crash happened. Both Willick and LaCroix have been laid to rest at this time. Our thoughts and prayers from here at Atlanta News First go out to the team, the families, the friends, everyone who knew these two. It is a sad, sad loss for UGA Athletics, and the state of Georgia. But right now, some new surveillance video just was released showing the group leaving a club late that night before that deadly crash happened. Authorities are looking into every detail that led up to that crash to try and piece together what happened. Right now, they are saying they believe that speed was a factor in that crash. Speed was one of the main components that led to that crash. It is unfortunate, but hopefully they can find peace in knowing exactly how this happened. But ultimately, yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody involved. UGA Athletics right now, I know they're hurting, and you don't have to be a UGA fan to be in a mind space of thinking about how terrible of a tragedy this is. Again, to go from celebrating back-to-back championships to planning funerals. All right, guys, that was a quick look at the top 5 stories here today. And this is going to change and evolve as time goes on. I'll be jumping on here more often to give you guys that update as much as I can. We're really upping our game here at the Atlanta News First Desk moving forward, where we want to provide you guys these online updates as much as possible on top of our on-air updates. You see us at 3, you see us at 4, you see us at 5. We want to jump on here in between the noon show and the 3 o'clock show. We want to jump on between the 7 o'clock show with Tracy Hutchins and the 9 o'clock show with Sean and Rick. And so you'll be seeing these alerts on your phone popping up more often. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you are alerted whenever we are on Facebook or YouTube or your favorite streaming softwares. Because again, in the weeks moving forward, we're going to be focusing a lot more attention to provide you guys these updates on your mobile phone on top of what we're giving you, what we've been giving you on air. But I want to thank you guys for joining me, for joining us here with the Atlanta News First Desk, and let you know that we will be here a lot more often. You guys have a good rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you in just about 30 minutes beginning at 3 o'clock. Tracy Hutchins and myself will be bringing you the news live on Atlanta News First. You guys have a good day.